We've got one more letter from Dave in Canton. He says, "Isn't doing nothing for an hour boring? Will my life really change?" So I feel like we've kind of answered this a little bit, saying it's not really a waste of time. But you said it's okay. It can be just wasting time with God. What did you mean by that, and what do you think?
I think that we have this very like utilitarianism mentality in today's age. Like every single moment needs to be useful or to a purpose, and we never allow ourselves to have like authentic rest, and not rest in the sense of, oh, I'm reading a book or I'm watching Netflix, like true rest, and just letting ourselves, like our minds wander and think about God and just be present with Him. Like it's so refreshing in a way that a lot of people in our culture aren't used to, and it can be really beautiful. So it's like when wasting time with God, it's like it's actually the most useful time we have really, and it can just be really beautiful in that way. So yeah, definitely. I think that even if you're bored, it's like go to Scripture too. It's like the daily readings are perfect because they're little snippets of things that they're organized by topic and by a message that kind of wants to be presented during the day. And the daily readings can be a great reflection tool because they're already set aside by or like delineated by the church, and they can be really great spiritual reading if you're interested. Yeah.
So Patrick's recommending maybe looking at the daily readings as a form of a way to kind of focus our attention on the Eucharist during our time in adoration. Maggie, you mentioned journaling. Tell us your experience of journaling. How do you go about it? Because there's a lot of ways you could go about journaling.
There are a lot of ways. I usually start with either a question that I really want to ask God, and I write that down and then see where my thoughts and prayers take me in that. Mm-hmm. Or I do start with the daily readings or just a spiritual book that I'm reading. I like to read Fulton Sheen is amazing. I love G.K. Chesterton. Just like these intellectual giants who have thought about all these things before you, and it can really direct you and really help you grow in your prayer life. And then usually there's going to be one phrase that sticks out to you, and that's like it sticks out to you for a reason, and like maybe that's God's way of telling you to really meditate with that, and that's what I like to do. And I'll write it down, and I'll really think about it. I'll think about like how it applies to my life, what God is trying to say to me through that, and I just write down my train of thought. It's almost like stream of conscience writing.
And eventually, through that, you hear the Lord's voice speaking to you, and it's very clear where it crosses the line between, am I just distracted, or is the Lord speaking to me? And that's the beauty of journaling. And the thing about going to Eucharistic Adoration is it's not going to a library, it's not sitting there reading just to read. It's reading so as to enter into prayer. It's journaling as a form of entering into prayer. Has that been
a
your
conversation
experience?
even too? Yeah, like you're talking with someone. It's not. It's especially with the scriptures. It's like it's a living word. Mm-hmm. It's not just not dead or static. Like it's an interactive conversation that you're having, and seeing it in that perspective, it's less of like a class or academic reading. It's like a really personal encounter when you read the scriptures and just read any spiritual reading, and to see the saint's spiritual life too. Definitely.
It's good for focusing too.
Yeah.
It is very easy, like Ryan was saying, it's very easy to go in there and like be distracted, be weighed down by all the things you're thinking about, all the things like, oh, I have to go to the store and get all these things once I'm out of here. But journaling or just reading a good spiritual book or scripture itself it's really good for focusing you on what you need to be thinking.
Yeah, I mean, those distractions are going to happen no matter how much time you spend in adoration. So with my journal, I usually take a page that I just dedicate to distractions. So then I can just write them down, and then it's clear, and then I go back to my regular journaling. Yeah. And then you can have a page that maybe is things you're discerning, and a page of just what the Lord is speaking to you that day. Right. So just to review a couple things that for doing an adoration is reading Scripture, whether it's daily Mass readings or another way would maybe be Liturgy of the Hours. Praying the Liturgy of the Hours is a way to set the tone to get into prayer, or reading the Office of Readings. Journaling was another thing that we were mentioning. And just the silence of adoration. For me, I just sit there and I know that I'm staring at the Lord, so I'm staring at the face of the Lord, which is something that people long to do for all of Scripture, is just to stare at the face of the Lord. And we have Him fully present, body, blood, soul, and divinity in the Eucharist. And He is present in that time of Eucharistic adoration. But then I ask myself, as the Lord looks back at me, what is He saying to me? And I think that's simply what we're all saying is like, it's a time of conversation, a time with a friend, a time where the Lord speaks to us and we speak to Him. Can we all agree to that?
Yeah, definitely.
So the reason we're talking about this today is because we need more people to take on hours for Eucharistic adoration in our chapel. And there can be a million excuses not to, But for us, it's been so fruitful in our lives that we really want to encourage you to take an hour or a couple hours, maybe more than 1 hour a week, but definitely an hour a week. Now, if you want to sign up for this, there's something appearing on the screen right now as we speak through editors, and it's making me very emotional. Does that even make sense? So sign up online or however this appears on the screen, because we know that it will be put in the final video, and we hope that you've enjoyed this amazing time of talking about something that's really impacted our lives.